Get your hands in the air for a little jive talking. We read the news and maybe a little fucking. Jive talking with your pal Shane. We're getting naked and we're having a good time. Jive. God, I really feel like I'm doing a good job there. Welcome, one and all back. Hey, that bit there I was doing the do. What is that? Deep Purple. I almost had it there. But it's like the first thing that you learn on a guitar, right? Deep Purple. Or Iron Man or something like that. Welcome, one and all back to another exciting, stimulating, and tantalizing episode of Jive Talking with Shane Diablo, episode 78, if you can believe that. Right on our way to 100, pretty quick and soon. I've got your comments here. We've got stories. You want to check this out and be part of the comment section? You got to get on the YouTube, get on the episode, comment on the episode. Please do not put your requests there. I have come up with an executive ruling. I'm not going to even give hearts, thumbsies on the comments to requests because we have to nip this in the bud, people, or that comment section isn't going to be with your interesting nuggets and takes on things. It's going to be requests. Any other videos in the world, you are welcome to do that, but the Jive Talkins are for your personal thoughts and opinions on the stories that we do here. Let's get right into it because I found this interesting. And god damn, this is Motley Crue here. You got Nikki Sixx and Vince Neil. Doesn't it look like they just turned? Like on The Walking Dead, they just turned to the undead. He's going, "I got Vince, I need brains." You know, I mean, it looks like they've just turned. They've got the flesh there. It's all still really puffy and thick. But I wanted to get into this. Producer Bob Rock confirms he worked on 3 new Motley Crue songs. It was so amazing. And I wanted to find out what's going on with this because there was a very interesting nugget down here about Nikki Sixx not knowing how to play the bass until Dr. Feelgood. Let's get into this. During a new episode on Talk is Jericho, the podcast hosted by Fozzy frontman, wrestling superstar Chris Jericho, legendary producer Bob Rock confirmed that he recently worked on 3 new rock tunes with Motley Crue. Asked what it was like having new Crue guitarist John Five in studio during the session, Rock said, "It was so amazing. It was just the best time. So easy. It was really easy." Bob also recounted a story about being impressed by Crue bassist, here we go, Nikki Sixx's willingness to improve his craft decades into the band's existence. While we were making, this is Bob Rock. While we were making 1989's Dr. Feelgood, Nikki says to me, he goes, "I don't think I've ever played on any of the Motley Crue records. I think somebody came in at night and replaced all of my parts," he says. "So I don't really know how to play bass." And I said, "Too bad, you're playing bass on it." So I worked with him through Dr. Feelgood, did a lot of edits and made him play every note. But when we did the Dirt soundtrack, the songs on the Dirt, I went to see him and we started working on the demos. He picked up the bass and started playing and I said, whoa, what's going on here? He had been taking bass lessons for 5 years. All of a sudden, he's an amazing bass player. And I think that is so cool. In that point of his career, he wanted to be better. It's so cool that at that point, Dr. Feelgood, in his career, he says, "You know what? I want to be a musician. I'd like to be a bass player." Right? In that point in his career, he wanted to be better. I admire that. So now, on The Dirt, Nikki and Tommy Lee played live off the floor, both of them. Do you know what off the floor means? That means and rolling, guys, and the drummer and the bass player plays the whole tune together. So Bob Rock is in the studio for The Dirt, and he's so happy and impressed that Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee can actually play together, live together, in the room together. Apparently, circling back to the latest Motley Crue session, Rock added, "So I had John Five, Nikki Sixx, excellent bass player, Tommy Lee," well, yeah, that's interesting, you put that in there. Nikki Sixx, excellent bass player, Tommy Lee, it was easy. Less than 2 weeks ago, Nikki said in his social media post that Motley Crue's new songs were 100% officially done and ready for mix. Earlier in the month, John Five spoke to SiriusXM's Trunk Nation with Eddie Junk in the Trunk about recording Motley Crue's new music with Rock, saying Bob would come in and say, oh, yes, remember, John Five's a very polite fellow, and he would say, well, Bob would come in and say, okay, let's try this here, and that here, and this here. It was one of the most incredible experiences ever. I'm thinking, we've got so much great technology today, but we got in that room, and it was like being in a garage, working on a song when you were in high school. It was incredible, and we documented a lot of it, too. Oh, that'll be fun to watch. Regarding the musical direction of the tracks he and the rest of Motley Crue have recorded so far, John Five said, the songs are fucking heavy, okay? I sound like a little excited kid right now, but they're heavy and they're mean. I can't wait for them to come out. I'm just so excited. I mean, they're going to be good rockin' tunes, right? John Five's been writing half of Rob Zombie's stuff forever. I mean, it's gonna be good tunes. So that's what you need is the guitar riffs, and then Vince can come in and go, he can do all that. Oh, when host Eddie Trunk asked John Five whether the new Motley Crue music can be compared to the band's breakthrough second album, 1983's "Shout at the Devil," the guitarist said that some of the new riffs are heavier than anything, and that that LP, all I can tell you is that it's heavier and it's aggressive, and I think people are going to dig it because, talking as a fan, it's fucking badass. It is. John Five joined Motley Crue last fall as the replacement for the band's co-founding guitarist Mick Mars, who mysteriously Mick announced his retirement from touring with Motley Crue last October as a result of worsening health issues. And then it's going to go into that whole big paragraph of where they talk about his debilitating disease. So we're not going to read any of that. Let's get it. You got John Five? You got Rob Zombie. Guess what? Guess what the master of horror and horror rock is up to? Rob Zombie is working on next studio album. It's gonna be good, he says. Rob Zombie is the featured guest on Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I like Howie Mandel. Does he still put that rubber glove on his head? Remember when Howie Mandel... If you're about 40 years old or older, you're going to remember Howie Mandel putting a rubber glove on his head. That was his whole act. He'd blow it up with his nostrils, and then it would fly off, and there we go. It was so worth the $20 we paid to get in. Rob Zombie is featured on Howie Mandel's The Podcast, co-hosted by the comedian and his daughter, Jacqueline Schultz. You can now watch video of Rob Zombie's appearance. Speaking about what he is working on at the moment, Rob said, transcribed by Blabbermouth, right now I'm just worrying about the summer tour and the next album because it's been a while since I've made a record. I was working on the music for the LP till about a week ago, and it's going good. It's a long process. He wants to get in there and start writing records because John Five left the band. So he wants to go, I'm still doing things too, Rob, or Johnny Five. Did I call him Rob Five? Yeah, he said, I'm still doing things too. I don't need you, John Five. Can I be frank here? Can I be honest with you? I think he should have stayed with Zombie. That's all I'm going to say about that. I like making records over long periods of time so that I can live with it, he explained. Me and my wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, we like to live with a good rock and roll record that I'm writing. Sometimes you write something and it's new and you're all excited because it's new, and time goes by and you're like, it's just exciting because it's new. It's not really that good. But if you live with the stuff for a while, make love to the stuff. I added that. No, he didn't say that. But if you live with the stuff for a while, you kind of get a better sense of how strong it is. Elaborating on how he goes about making albums, Rob said, usually it starts with just me and the producer coming up with ideas, mapping out. Does he do it like old Jello Biafra? You know, Jello Biafra used to write the tunes, the Dead Kennedys, by just humming the words, humming the tune. He'd go, and the guitar's doing, that's how he used to do it. Maybe Rob does the same thing with the producer. He sits there and goes, I want it to sound like that. Usually it starts with just me, and the producer comes up with the ideas, mapping out rough ideas, and then the band will start. I've got this idea, and this idea, I haven't stood in a room with a band and jammed on ideas since the early 90s because I just always found that to be really draining. I like working with one guy behind the board, and we formulate ideas and you piece it together, and that's a great way to carve out everyone. And the writing, I'm going to come up with the melody, the harmony, and the vocals. Then I'm going to give it to you, ding-dongs. And whatever you put on it, you're just, sorry, you're not getting a cut. Kind of like you would a movie. It's kind of similar as opposed to a bunch of guys jamming all day long. You're like, anyone got any ideas? Not really. Asked how close it is to completing the next album, Rob said, not close at all. We just have a ton of ideas, and I got to take those ideas, whittle them down, start writing lyrics, see if that makes sense. Hopefully by next summer, it will be ready. So there you have that. Rob's 7th studio album, The Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy, was released in March 2021 via Nuclear Blast. The LP marked Rob's first new album in the nearly 5 years. The follow-up to 2016's, The Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser. Jesus with the names, man. Come up with something better than that. Why don't you call it Sherry Moon? Call the next album Sherry Moon. Alice Cooper. Let's stay in the spook rock, wouldn't you? Let's stay with the Alice. Alice Cooper here says the word retire is not in his vocabulary. During an appearance at the latest episode of Access TV, The Power Hour, legendary rocker Alice Cooper was asked if he plans to retire. He responded, well, it's not in my vocabulary, the word retire. People say, why don't you stop and just play golf? And I go, I play golf anyway. I play golf every day. If there's a show, I play golf that morning, and then I do the show that night. Oh, well, aren't you a little golf nut? He's gone cray-cray for golf, right? What do you want to be, the next Arnold Palmer? Got to wet my whistle here for a minute. Bear with me. I'm sorry. Sometimes you got to wet the whistle. I had a long day today, too. Long. You guys know it because by the time I hit these comment hearts, you're going to be going, this is very peculiar. Usually he does this much sooner. Back in 2018, Cooper, who turned 75, and he looks great and acts great for that age, this past February told Tigman of the Albany, New York radio station Q103 that he had no plans on calling it quits. I've always said this. If we do a tour and nobody shows up, then I'm retired, he explained. That's never happened, in fact. We're doing better business now than we've ever done. More people are coming to the shows now, and I've never felt better. So I don't see any reason to retire at all. I know a lot of guys are quitting, but a lot of guys are still smoke and they drink. They're probably tired. I'm not tired. Why are you getting on your all high and mighty horse? You used to be an alcoholic. Guys, should we stay in the realm? I know this is really creepy, weird, and wacky, but old Danny to the Isaac, old Ding Dong Man here. Look at this. He's going, do the heavy metal horns. You don't do them better than me, Danny. Look at this face right here. This is the man that gave me a strike on my channel, everybody. Danzig. But you know what? I love that first and second record. And the third record from Danzig. And the news that I have here, I feel it important to talk about. Now, you can't film 1 damn minute of Danzig live if you go to the concerts. Unless you want his little turd burglar to go over there and block, hit you with a strike on your channel. But, anyways, love me tender Danzig to perform entire debut album on 35th anniversary U.S. tour. Oh, yay! Danzig has announced a string of 35th anniversary tour dates where Glenn Danzig and his bandmates will perform the classic Danzig debut album in its entirety. I would love to hear that. I did get to see him. I saw Danzig twice, possibly 3 times, and I did see him on the Lucifuge tour. So that's all he was playing is all that delicious old stuff and the stuff from that record, right? Joining Danzig for these historic shows will be special guests Behemoth, Twin Temple, and Midnight. That's a pretty damn good lineup. Hopefully he doesn't go pull all the PA down for for Behemoth or whoever's going to play after him. And I said, hey man, what are you doing, man? He said, what are you talking about? I said, dude, we're supposed to get up there and play. Don't you know? You got your dudes take hey, fuck you, motherfucker. We got to finish that whole thing. Fuck you, motherfucker. And then he falls on the ground. Anyways, these will be the only... Jesus, am I having a freak out or what? I guess I'm still a little agitated by this little ding-dong. Giving me a dang strike on my channel. See how good I'm being to you, Mr. Zig? I'm still reporting important news to the people of the world, even though you've done me wrong. This will be the only Danzig shows for the foreseeable future. So do not miss this opportunity to see Mr. Glenn Danzig and the rare performance that Mr. Glenn Danzig will do. Pre-sale starts Wednesday, May 31st at 10 a.m. local time. General on sale starts Friday, June 2nd at 10 a.m. local time. And the dates, looks like the end of August through September 17th. And you're going to have to go look at those dates and figure things out. Oh, here's a bit of info on the first record here. Danzig was released, that's self-titled, in August 1988 via producer Rick Rubin. Then, new label, Deaf American Recordings. It remains the band's best-selling album, having been certified platinum in the U.S. for sales in excess of 1 million copies. When Danzig, the band, grew out of the Misfits Samhain lineage in 1987, lead Glenn Danzig went into the new project with even grander ambitions and a long-term design. Between 1977 and 1987, the Misfits horror punk morphed into the dark, occult-steeped Samhain, or Samhain, or how they say that. When producer and record mogul Rick Rubin showed interest in signing Samhain, it was Def Jam label and that was producing their first record. The band yet again evolved, and Danzig was born. 1988's Danzig debuted, stripped away the creepy dissonance of Samhain and replaced it with a focused sensibility. It rocked harder and aimed for the gut. It was primal and memorable and straightforward howl of sinister rock and roll played by a band of 4 who locked in tight in their vision and looked unified in their presentation. And you've got who in that band? You've got John Christ, guitar. You've got Erie Vaughn on the bass. And you got Chuck Biscuit on the drums. And that made for a fine, fine thing. You done me wrong, Glenn. You've done me wrong. But I will still report the news as it needs to be reported. Here's the bandanaed Crip. He's a blood for sure. It's a red bandana, but Bret Michaels, poison. He's going to be magnanimous. What do they call that? He's going to say, guys, everyone was great on the stadium tour. Because someone's going to ask him, what'd you think of that Motley Crue and stuff on there? He said, everyone was great. Let's just quickly see, and then we're going to get into your comments. In a new interview with That Rocks, the weekly YouTube series hosted by Eddie Junk in the Trunk, Jim Florentine and Don Jameson, Poison singer Bret Michaels reflected on last year's The Stadium Tour, which saw his band performing alongside Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I was going to say, and they never mentioned that pretty cool little rockin' band Classless Acts, but they're gonna, right here. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. He said, I want to make very clear, I'm a big fan of Joan Jett, was incredible. The first band, see, and that's because Bret knows what's going on. The first band was Classless Act. They were great musicians. Joan, same thing. The playing was great. When you think about this, every rock band, you want it to be dark, out when the band is performing outdoors. You're like, I want to see the lights, the pyro, all this stuff that Poison and myself have done for years. But the opportunity to go out there, and I'm a big fan of Def Leppard and a big fan of Motley Crue, he continued, and everyone on that tour was great. Everyone got along good. I go out there and see their shows, and you see all these pictures of Tommy Lee, Motley Crue drummer, on the side of the stage watching us play. I'm up there hanging out, watching Joan and Def Leppard. Honest to God, give me something to believe in, to the Lord above. It was a great moment. This past February, Michaels was full of praise for Def Leppard, telling the Peter McMurray Show about the British rockers. They're ageless. Their music, I gotta tell you, I love everything I love about Def Leppard. Well, he just calls them Leppard. Everything I love about Leppard. Besides being super awesome, nice guys, they have a lot of big hits. But you know what's great about them? They always, like myself, I'm saying as an artist, like to throw in a new music in their set. And me, as a fan, I like to hear new songs. Listen, I want to hear the classic hits. Don't ever misunderstand me. But the reason they became hits is because someone spun them and played them so we could hear them, he explained. And I love that they threw in new stuff, mixed it in with the old and the new and the hits, and it was great. So there you have that. Let's get into your comments, and then we're going to whip on out of here. And I want you to seize the day, seize the weekend, seize everything. Don't let the engine on the car seize. But let's get into it. Mike Buchanan, he's already griping here. Look at this. I'm trying to make a comment, but your comment section hates me. I don't know what's going on with that, but I need to get to the bottom of it. Who's the CEO of YouTube? Do you think they'll take my phone calls? If I called and just said, I've got a real beef with you over here in my comment section. Where they go, oh, we'll get right on that, sir. I don't think so. You got to be like Mr. Beast level. If Mr. Beast farts, they go, let's get down there and smell it. It smells good. I'm trying to make a comment, but your comment section hates me. I have an opportunity. This is Mike Buchanan here. I have an opportunity to see Corey Taylor live. I will probably go. His wife, along with the rest of the Cherry Bombs, is opening. Please get some good footage of that so we can do a really deep dive on Cherry Bombs. And the opening act should be a fun time. And don't do it. Don't, if you're not one of them intrusive people that pulls your phone out and holds it up the whole time, don't do that. I was just kidding with you. Don't do anything I do. Unless I say, Simon says, and then I tell you whatever I asked you to do. But until I do that, don't do it. I looked at the photograph and I liked it. I can't remember what he's talking about. Saw Richie perform live with Priest, and he's fantastic. Yeah? He's probably got more juice in the gas tank these days. Still Mike Buchanan here. So Jason or anyone who happened to be the replacement for Cliff was never going to get a break. The guys were just not in a good place when Jason joined the band. Guess he finally just got fed up and called it quits. And that's a very good point. I agree. I don't think that it was necessarily Jason Newsted at all. I think that whoever they would have been the replacement, unless it was Robert Trujillo, and the only reason for that would be he's a big son bitch. He's a big muscly boy, and those little turds are not going to get him in the band on Master of Puppets and talk to him bad. Yes, what say you? Still Mike Buchanan here. Yeah, without David's name under the photo, I never would have known it was him. Hair, who cares? And now, your Jive Talking Jokes of the Week. What do you call a small mother? A minimum. I asked my friend Sam to sing a song about the iPhone. And then Sam sung. Oh, God, that's a good one. When it makes me smile, like that Cracker song, that's when you know that I'm really liking it. Just been for my prostate exam. Good for you. Go get it done. Okay. Just been for my prostate exam. Got the thumbs up. Technically, it is not the thumbs up. It is the index finger because it's going in to fill the prostate. And if it's smooth, he says, it's probably about 5 seconds, I would say. Goes in, kind of feels around. Not any hard thrusting or anything like that, but just feel, and then they say, okay. The worst part of it is the cleanup, when they throw you a bunch of towels and say, clean yourself up. And you're standing there and they're going, they always roll back on that chair. And you have your underpants down and you're kind of wiping your ass in front of them. And they're going, okay, so you're looking good. And I think what we're going to do is schedule you from about a year from now. And you're kind of just still wiping yourself up. You're going, thanks, sir. That's the worst part. Every morning after I get out of my house, a bike comes out of nowhere and runs me over. It's a vicious cycle. That's good. My wife took off her shirt and bra during an argument where I was winning. It was a booby trap. Oh, yeah. And finally, my wife thinks it's weird that I stare out at the window during a heavy rainstorm. It would be a lot weirder if she'd just let me in. Oh, that's Johnny Carson style right there. So for what I can deduce from adding parts of my comments in a little at a time, either you have something set to a filter out certain words, nope, or YouTube is doing it. YouTube is doing it. I have no filters on here to block or do anything to any comments. My section on the movies that are bad, but we love them anyways, keeps causing this comment to disappear. Huh. That's weird. So let's get into this once again, shall we? For your movies that are bad, but we love them anyways, I give you Killer Party. This movie has a tie-in with a past video you made from Tattoo Rodeo. Okay. Who, before becoming Tattoo Rodeo, were a band called White Sister. I think I remember reading something like that. Who had a couple of albums out in the mid-'80s, and for some weird reason had songs in a lot of movies during their brief time, including Killer Party, where they have a music video in it for some weird reason, for the song April. Anyways, the movie doesn't really know what it wants to be. A sorority, fraternity, party movie, maybe a slasher movie of supernatural movie. Oh yeah, they throwing it all in, huh? However you want to describe it, it's just deliciously bad. Go check it out if you want to. Yes, do that. And I will check on my favorite new little app, Tubi, because I just started watching the seasons of Gilligan's Island, and I swear, when I was 5 or 6, I was still watching reruns of Gilligan's Island, but it takes me right back. Okay, up next, we're going to say hello to the only game. But unfortunately, he says you should also review Enda Venera Death's Calling. Please put that comment in any other videos. The only game again. You should review Slackjaw WMD. Okay? Please put that in some other videos, and perhaps I will run across it and get that for you. Levi here. Hi, Shane. An awesome, good, bad, scary movie is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I absolutely love that. And then there was another one that the Tucker, the big one, Dale or whoever is in, called Country something. And they're just fantastic movies. Ever thought about doing a movie reaction video? This would be a good one to start with. I mean, I've thought about doing something like that. There's your heart. I've thought about doing some kind of a watch along, like, you know, what I wanted to do for the Patreons. I had this idea and I don't know how to do it just yet, and it might be long and boring. But what I thought about doing is getting Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park and then kind of doing it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style. I don't know who would sit through Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park with me just talking over the whole movie. But I thought about doing that as a special something. I just don't know how it works when it comes to, you know, Kiss are going to block it or whatever. So, yeah, it gets harder. It's harder with movies, to be honest with you. Deckmaster Celtic Guardian. Also listen to, and I'm sorry, I apologize, but also listen to Roots, Wrath of God. It's a doom death metal Christian band. Thank you for reacting to Christian extreme metal. Well, thank you, and put that comment any other place. This is the Deckmaster General again, Guardian. React to Eagletide, Sunk into the Ground. It's a Christian heavy metal band. I just found out. I think you would like it. Okay, again, put that over and in the good place. Miss Althea coming in. The Dumbstruck Fool says, okay, Miss Althea, pardon me. This is rude. I got to freshen my lips. I got to freshen them real good. Got to freshen my lips. Man, oh man. That first can of beer, right after a long, miserable, disgusting, terrible day of work, it just hits in all the right spots. Miss Althea coming in here, officially declaring the followers of Jive Talking a cult and relaying the tale of a hat resurrection. Thank you. In the healing waters of the 7-Eleven bathroom. All in the same breath. Amen. My God. Miss Althea, you cracked me up. Oh. Yeah, I baptized my hat in the 7-Eleven bathroom. Miss Althea on Corey Taylor. Bonus points to you just for making a reference to Morrissey. Okay, off topic. I freaking love the Smiths and Morrissey. I've seen him twice. I'm not a fan of some of the things he says and does, but I'm not one of those freaking weirdos that you see those grown men that want to run up on stage and tear their underpants off and throw it at him and stuff. But I've been a huge fan of the Smiths in particular for a long time. Let's get into this. Reference to Morrissey. I was never a huge fan of his or the Smiths, but a former friend was, and she always had their music playing in her car whenever we hung out. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is seemingly becoming the Rock and Roll Hall of Lame, with the way it has been bashed recently. I fully admit to doing so myself. Between what defines rock and roll now, from fans and enough sour grapes from performers like Corey, this is one topic that will never die. A notation of, she's going to tell me what that is? Sick? Okay, good, thank you. A notation of SIC, sick, basically means as it was written. Okay. in that case of Johnny Rotten's letter, she's going to really do me right here. He wrote, "We're not coming, ... The sick notation was added to the transcript as this was obviously grammatically incorrect and should have been, we're not coming." Okay. So okay, all right. And that's called what? As it was written. Basically, wow. I like learning things. Still Miss Althea here on Chad Kroger. I was totally unaware of Nickelback hating situation, and he still looks good like Chef Curtis Stone to me. Who's Chef Curtis Stone? I'm sure I've seen him on Chopped or one of them shows. You know what I like watching sometimes is that what's the Ninja Kitchen, where the guy's like, "Let's cook." Ninja Kitchen. Miss Althea on Richie Faulkner. He and Jeff Tate should get together to film some PSAs about the importance of cardiac health. Yeah. You get Jeff Tate's doing a high note, yeah, and him doing a solo, and they do it with their backs together, and they go, "Look what we can do when we take care of our hearts," and we get them fixed by the doctor. Miss Althea on David Coverdale. Still not a fan of his new haircut. Makes him look like Joe Elliott. That metal show was awesome. On the Stump the Trunk segment, it would always crack me up when Jim Florentine would have a card at the mic and say, "Eddie, I don't know how this one got in here, but yeah, I remember him." Male hairdressers are awesome too. I have one, and he is amazing. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that Hide of X Japan, may he rest in peace, was a hairdresser, and he continued to work in a salon. Well, that explains all their hairdos. He couldn't even play that damn guitar after he did all their hairdos. He's like, you gotta sleep standing up because my arms need to rest before I can rock. He was a hairdresser, and he continued to work in a salon part-time up until the band's second album was released, or so I heard. Very good, very good. Super bonus. Miss Althea's got a super bonus for us. Super bonus points for mentioning Beneath the Planet of the Apes. That whole 5-film franchise, the OGs and not reboots, was a huge part of my childhood. And that particular one, the second in the series, was the worst, which is exactly why I love it so much. Yeah, when Planet of the Apes hit, and everyone thought it was going to be kind of a goof and a spoof, but then they got Charlton Heston on there, and they're like, "What? Sir Charlton Heston's going to do this? Okay, we got to pay attention." And it turned out so good. Yeah. So then they got to go, we got to do sequels. Tied for best. Oh, really? So you're going Beneath is with Planet of the Apes. In my opinion, and the original and the Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the third in the series, Lawgiver Bleeds and Glory Be to the Bomb. Yes. Oh, yes. I remember that. Oh, there's a heart. And you know what? You're getting a thumb too. You make me giggle, you make me smile, like that Cracker song. Remember that? You make me smile. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I need you guys to get out there and seize the day. Sometimes when you're feeling beat down, you say, "I'll do it in an hour. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it." No, get up and do it. Get up and go. Go do something. Live the life. Get on a bike. Take a walk. Get out there and do some deep breathing and look at them clouds, okay? And just kind of think to yourself a little bit. Do that. Let's see. I want to get... I'd really like to stay in that... See, I had that... That's sassy. Let's get it... Let's get a tone. Oh! Oh, where was that been hiding? Jive talking. Oh! Jive with me, all you motherfuckers, you can get it for free. We do the heavy metal news, we have a little fun, we read your comments and I squeeze your buns. Jive talking with your friend Shane D. Get the heavy metal motherfucking news for free. Just listen. Listen with your ears and eyes. Jive talking, it's a hell of a time. Goodbye.